This is awesome. It's about time some manufacturer finally came up with a great idea for a decent sized toolbox. And not even decent size. This is large, a large size toolbox. This is fantastic. All right, I'm going to show you what a lot of us tractor owners had to do before this came along. This is an ammo can. Okay, I painted it gray. It's got all the mounting hardware inside of it, so it rattles a little bit. But this worked really well for a long time, and a lot of people use this modification on their toolbox, you know, on the ROPS for a toolbox. You can see I drilled a few holes and I used some U-bolts and I made it work on the side of my BX25. Now, since I've gotten the cab, I can't really use this. There's really just no place to mount it. I didn't want to mount it on the outside because, you know, it would get snagged by branches and whatever. And there was some clearance issues, so I just never put it on. I've been dealing with the tiny little dinky sized toolbox that Kubota provides for the BXs, you know, the one inside on the left next to the seat, where you can fit a wrench and maybe 2 screwdrivers. That one. This is a huge improvement. A huge improvement. I can literally fit 4 of these ammo cans inside of this toolbox. 1, 2. I only have 2, but 4 would fit in there if I had 4. They would fit in there. So, nice job, guys. Whoever came up with this concept of a toolbar on the back of your tractor, where you can still use your 3-point system, great idea. Awesome idea. However, I have some suggestions for some possible improvements. So, keep watching. There's a slight possibility I might have an intelligent idea, so stick around. One of the improvement ideas I have is particularly for people who own the Curtis cab, such as me, because this is an issue. I'm sure it's a very small percentage of BX owners who actually have a cab on their tractor who want to put this toolbox on, but it's an issue regardless. So, you know, here's what it is. As you can see, I had to use 2 different bolts to mount this hardware on, to mount that bracket. The reason that I had to mount it using this slot on the furthest one, this direction on the bracket, and not this one, is because if you look back here on this cam system, this locking cam system, I only have 1 inch of clearance, okay? I tried to mount it to this slot here to kind of bring it in a little bit closer and tighter, but I wasn't able to because then I didn't have room to lock that. So that was a problem. Now, I have a couple ideas for that, and I'll get to it. But one thing I do also want to point out is that the BX80 series has 2 pre-drilled holes through the ROPS. I didn't put these holes through the ROPS. They are already there. The 80 series has these pre-existing holes. Okay, so there's 2 down here, and there's actually 2 more up here. So anyways, those are already in existence. And because I have a cab, there's a bracket that supports the cab that utilizes those holes. Okay, so there was a bolt that was already through there, but the bolt wasn't quite long enough, and the bolt diameter was a little bit too big to go through this slot, so I had to get a little longer bolt, a little narrower bolt, but I went with the grade 8 bolt, so I got them torqued down pretty good. This bracket's not moving anywhere. It's pretty sturdy. But it did cause a couple issues. One of the issues was I wasn't able to use this supporting bracket. I'm not sure what you guys call it actually, but it's supposed to go down here. I think it's actually supposed to mount in this groove and kind of go down there to provide additional support. Well, I'm not able to use that with the way that I have it set up. However, if this had a little elongated hole in it, I would be able to use it. I'd be able to make that work. Another thing, let's see, this thing, I don't know what you want to call this, the U-bolt clamp, supporting bar, but it's supposed to go through the U-bolt and line up and hold that in place. And this is a great idea because it takes care of these bolt heads to where you're not gonna, you know, scrape your arm on it or something while using it. So I like this. I wish that I could use it right here. And again, if this had an elongated slotted hole in the back of it, I would be able to use it. I just can't with the configuration that I had to put this in. Now this is a real minor issue for those of us that have a cab, but it is an issue regardless. And that brings me to my next point. Now, because I have a cab, well, not just because I have a cab, but because I have the BX23S, I have a backhoe, okay? The cab, I can remove this back panel, as you know, and I can use my backhoe. But the bigger problem now is this toolbar is in the way, okay? So I'm gonna reposition this camera and I'll talk more about that. I got you guys set up on a tripod now, which is actually a step ladder, but now you won't get a headache, okay? I love that this toolbox is super easily removable by this cam system. In fact, whoever came up with this cam system idea, give that person a raise. That's an awesome, easy, simple locking system. No bolts, no pins. That's a great, fantastic idea, and it looks like it's gonna hold up. I'm impressed. That's really ingenious. So great job to whoever did that. Now, my suggestion, now if I want to use my backhoe, I've got to take this bar off, as well as the back panel of my cab, but I got to take this bar off, which involves me to remove 4 bolts, or at least loosen the bolts so I can slide this bar out of here. But if I don't want to put the bar back on right away, you know, I might have these brackets that are loose and they're going to rattle, and that's not the way to do it either. So here's a couple ideas. I got 2 ideas, and maybe between the 2 ideas, I got a 3rd idea. So, the cam system that is so awesome, why not incorporate that here and here? So not only does the toolbox remove with the cam system, but now the toolbar removes with that cam system, okay? So that's one idea, 2 cam systems on each side. Here's my other idea. 1 cam system on this side, I would prefer this side, I think most tractor owners would on this side, and a heavy duty hinge system on this side, okay? Now, when I say the word Jeep hinge, okay, that's a hinge that you can open and pull up and remove, right? Kind of similar to what I have on my doors on the Curtis cab. So this bracket, instead of, you know, making this 90-degree turn, instead of that 90 degree, if it was on a hinge, that would make things a lot easier. And here's why. Because now the clearance issue for taking on and off the toolbox is no longer an issue, because I could just swing this open and unlock it and take the toolbox off, okay? So that solves that problem. I could mount this a little bit tighter. The other issue is if I want to utilize my 3-point hitch, right? And a lot of people are going to do this. If I want to use my 3-point hitch, I can get down here with the toolbox on, because now this can swing open, okay? It can swing open out of the way. I can get down here, I can utilize my 3-point hitch, I can hook up a PTO shaft. I'm going to have plenty of room. I'm not going to bump my head. Goodness sakes, you know, I don't need any more bumps on my head. So there's an idea, all right? Either 2 cam systems, remove the whole thing, or put this on a Jeep hinge, let it swing out, and then if you wanted to lift it up out of the way and take it off with that, it would have to be probably a pretty heavy duty hinge, because, you know, it has to support probably a good amount of weight. I think it could. I think you could design it to make that happen. You guys can design anything, actually, right? So there's my 2 cents as far as modifying this bar. Okay, that's what I have for that. Next. All right, what I'm gonna do now, guys, is I'm gonna fold down my rocks. I'm gonna fold down this bar. I want you to pay close attention to this area right here, okay? So I'm gonna fold it down, and you're gonna notice that it just barely rubs down there, okay? Just barely rubs. I'm gonna get you in really close here. Hold on. All right, can you see that? It's probably not gonna focus real well with this camera, but it just kind of barely rubs here. Now I'm able to move the bar all the way down. I can do that. It's not a problem, but it does rub a little bit here. It's actually getting easier to move every time I go up and down because it's starting to wear a little bit here, and as you can see, not sure how well you can see, but as you can see in there, it's just starting to rub a little bit. So either provide a little bit of a notch in there for this issue, or just make this bracket just a millimeter or two narrower, and that would solve that problem. Before I move on, you guys might be wondering what this thing is. This is called the Rax 360, and this is kind of similar to that tool rack on the back that you guys have. I haven't received that yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. But this is meant to hold two long-handled tools. Neil Messick sent me this. Neil owns a dealership out in Pennsylvania and along the East Coast. You may have heard of him. He also does some YouTube stuff. In fact, I know you've heard of him because he has the Artillian grapple. Okay, so Neil sent me this bracket because there's some guys in his area that are starting a company called Rax 360. This is the product that they came up with. I like this product, but I don't think it's a great product. It needs some improvements. I'm just showing you this because I want you to know some of the issues with this. This has the ability to turn and lock in different positions, okay? Which is a cool feature. One problem though is it's kind of loose. Okay, it doesn't really lock. Now I've suggested that they taper this little spring pin in here and maybe put an additional one here so it's actually on a bar, and then they could get rid of these things. And then I made them a little video, but anyway, it's a decent product. It's not a great product. The tools really don't sit in these little clamping systems real well. I just have these carabiners up here. These are meant to hold things. I don't really like this concept, but anyways, it works. It's made very well. The idea of the hooks or the brackets where it just doesn't hold tools that great. And when I have it vertical, long-handled implements actually interfere with my tire. So it is a problem. And the top bracket is too narrow for a regular handled, like a shovel or a rake. And the bottom bracket doesn't really hold it in securely that well. It's got some issues. It needs some improvements, but that's the Rax 360. I just thought I would show it to you. Good product. Seems like a couple of great guys or three great guys that are making this, and yeah, that's what that is. So enough about that. Let's move on to something else. What I mentioned is I just love that cam locking system. That's genius. Just genius. Awesome. Here's the problem. You guys might think this is silly. All right. Hold on. I got to set you up here. Okay. Got you set up. Now, can you see the minor problem? Hey, look closely. Look at the sticker, right? It's the sticker. Look closely. It's crooked, right? It's crooked? You guys can see that? It's kind of tilted this way. So yeah, this giant sticker is crooked. That's not going to be the same on every toolbox, but it's on mine. Now I know you're not fooling me. I know that this is a Stanley toolbox that I can buy for $31.99 at Ace Hardware. I've seen it there online, and I know that it's a Stanley toolbox because not only does it look identical, but let's look real closely here. If you look really closely, I don't know if you're going to see it, but you can actually see where it says, or where it said Stanley on this sticker. So if I get in the right light, you guys can see that, right? Okay, now Stanley makes an awesome toolbox. Great idea to incorporate their toolbox into your tool rack, toolbar system. I like that. I'm very pleased that you used a Stanley toolbox because it's a great toolbox. However, I can absolutely tell that it's a Stanley toolbox and the sticker is kind of crooked. And to be honest, guys, the sticker is just, it's big. Let's make a smaller sticker here. Let's just put it right over that one, all right? Just make, it doesn't even have to have this wheel. And I'll tell you why, because us Kubota guys, when we see these yellow rims on wheels, it's hard to put that kind of stuff on a Kubota tractor. I'm just going to be honest. Let's just stick with the Artillian thing and maybe incorporate a little bit of orange instead of all green. Just a suggestion. I know it's a minor thing, but I don't know. What do you guys think? So, I think those are all the suggestions that I have. Hey, I'm very pleased to represent Artillian in the product line. I feel so fortunate that you guys are sending me stuff out to test out and promote on my YouTube channel. I just feel fortunate and blessed to do that. So thank you very much. I hope that you find this video informative and are able to take a few of these ideas and turn them into reality. But hey guys, thanks again. It's gonna be a hot one today. I'm just sweating buckets. Whew. Man, I'm gonna go inside in the air conditioning and cool off. But until next time, guys, God bless. Keep on tractoring. We'll talk to you later.